Hello and welcome to the Underhive. We are back with some more How to Command the Death Guard. In this series, we're going to take a look at every aspect of the Death Guard. So whether you're looking to get more out of your army, or you're thinking of picking up some of Papa Nurgle's finest, then there's something here for you. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the troop selections since the changes for Warzone Nephilim. So let's dive in. We're not going to talk about cultists, but let's dive in and take a look at the rest of the troop slot. So firstly, let's jump in with the Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers have gone down from 6 points to 5 points. So across a squad of 10, you're saving 10 points, roughly 16%, something like that. So it's a great discount off what is a really reliable chaff unit. You will see them in every Death Guard list outside of a few fringe scenarios. But even before this change, you would still see 3 sets of Poxwalkers taking up the full troop slot. Fitting in, maybe 15, 16, 17, just to line up with the full 2,000 points. Given they've gone down in value, you may not see a change to those lists. You might just see the additional Poxwalkers included to fill up the rest of the points. But otherwise, the fact that other units have also gone down means you're likely to see extra units in those lists, as well as a few extra Poxwalkers per squad. Now, Poxwalkers in and of themselves haven't changed besides the points, but let's take a look at their profile here. You can take them in squads between 10 and 20 strong, so minimum 50 points, maximum 100. Given the 5 points each, it's really easy to just fit however many points you've got left after the rest of your army's been picked, and just go, right, I'll have 2 squads of 10 and 1 squad of 13. Just to use the points. You may see more squads of smaller groups as well now, because if you were previously running, say, a squad of 17 and a squad of 16, you would now have the points to go probably 2 squads of 11 and 1 squad of 12 or something like that. And of course, that means you can be on more objectives at once with the Poxwalkers, and that's going to be relevant as far as the secondaries, but I will touch on those at the end. So again, unit cost and size makes it very flexible to fit in more units of Poxwalkers. They've got a 4-inch move, so of course they're very slow, but they have no shooting, so there's no harm in advancing as long as you know that you're never going to be charging that turn. They've got a weapon skill of 4 up, strength 3, toughness 4, 1 wound, 2 attacks, 4 leadership, but they ignore morale, so the leadership's largely irrelevant there. Outside of Chaos Knights, they do suffer to Chaos Knights. It will pretty much always half their charge range if they take that. But again, you wouldn't be expecting the Poxwalkers to do an awful lot in terms of charging a Chaos Knight. And they've got a 7-up save. Now, they do have Contagions of Nurgle, which is great. So they are reducing toughness just by being near these guys, which is brilliant. They've Curse of the Walking Pox. Each time a melee attack made by this model kills an enemy model that is not a vehicle or monster. So it's an infantry style model, so it's infantry, beasts or swarms. When you kill a model with an attack made by the Poxwalkers, so there is means to get mortal wounds out of them, but that doesn't count for this effect. So if they're killed by the melee attack, you can then restore 1 model to the Poxwalkers. With 1 wound remaining, but they've only got 1 wound, and you can set them up in engagement range of units that are already in engagement of the Poxwalkers. You can do a similar thing to the way Necrons reanimate, so you could kill somebody at the back of the squad and then place them back at the front of the squad. So you could sort of daisy chain around the opponent and maybe prevent them falling back on their next turn as a result of moving them around in a daisy chain. They are the mindless horde, so the units cannot perform actions excluding spread the sickness. As far as fodder, each time a morale test, it is automatically passed. So it's only relevant for leadership when it comes to dread tests, pretty much. Unending horde, each time a model in this unit would lose a wound, roll 1d6, on a 6, that wound is not lost. So you need to bear in mind that if they take a shot that is 3 damage, the model still dies unless you roll all 3 6s. If you fail one of them, they still take a damage and die. But again, if you fire in multi-damage attacks into Poxwalkers, you're probably wasting your own shooting phase. So that's exactly what you would want your opponent to do anyway. So beyond that, there's not much to say other than that they can be the recipient of a couple of buffs to make them up to Strength 5, Toughness 5. That actually makes them a reasonable melee threat against infantry. And of course, if they get kills, they're going to be reviving models. But they're also the recipient of 2 fantastic stratagems, however, one of which relies on you being Harbingers. The Harbingers we've already discussed, just gives full rerolls to hit. And the other is Mutant Strain, which allows you to deal a mortal wound on a hit roll of a 6, and you deal a mortal wound to yourself on a hit roll of a 1. So, of course, combining those allows you to re-roll, firstly, the 1s that would have dealt damage to you, but you could just re-roll everything that isn't a 6 and try and maximize your number of 6s. But do bear in mind, you may end up rolling more 1s on the second batch because you're rolling virtually all the dice again. So either way around, though, you've still got the 6 up feel no pain for those mortal wounds. So even if you take a few, you might get a few back. And the bottom line is, mortal wounds are a fantastic way to deal damage to so many units across so many armies that the Poxwalkers otherwise wouldn't get a great trade into and wouldn't necessarily deal much damage themselves. So again, something like, like say a Space Marine character, maybe 4 or 5 wounds. A squad of 20 Poxwalkers is rolling 40 dice. It's not unreasonable to expect 5 or 6 sixes out of that, especially if you're Harbingers and you're going to be re-rolling everything that isn't a 6. So they become a massive threat to characters and even a significant threat to vehicles just on the basis that they can dish out mortal wounds. Fantastic model at 5 points. To be honest, I was happy with them at 6. I felt the reason they should be 6 was because the stratagems make them so dangerous to models that they otherwise shouldn't be dangerous to. So going back down to 5, I think is phenomenal. I don't know, maybe we'll see them go back up to 6 in the future, so I'm not holding out hope they'll stay at 5, but I think at 5 points, they are probably the strongest 5-point model by some margin. So if you're not considering putting Poxwalkers in your list, I would urge you to reconsider, find 50 to 100 points, and at least put 1 squad in there, because they're going to be great in terms of just an action monkey for your secondaries. But if your opponent does decide to attack them, they'll get a nasty surprise in the form of Mutant Strain if you decide to use it. And then the other troops choice is the Plague Marines. They cost the same base, so they're 21 points a model, but you can upgrade their loadouts for free. So Plague Marines have a 5-inch move, 3 up weapon skill and ballistic skill, 4 strength, 5 toughness, 2 wounds, 2 attacks with an additional attack on the champion or sergeant, leadership 8 on the champion if he's still there, otherwise leadership 7, 3 up save for both, whether it is the regulars or the champion. There's no invuln on them, but they do get Armour of Contempt. So against AP, it is a pseudo 2-up save. And of course, if you're in cover, you can have an additional 1 to that and be on an effectively pseudo 1-up save. So in terms of the default loadout, they would have Blight Grenades and Crack Grenades. They all have a Bolt Gun and they all have a Plague Knife. But given the upgrades are now free, you will just always upgrade them. There is no reason to not upgrade them. So first things first, the champion can take an upgraded Plague Knife. The Plague Knife by default is Strength User, AP 1, Damage 1, and it is a Plague weapon. The Demonic Plague Blade is the same, it's just +1 Strength. So that's a free upgrade previously anyway. Unless you're planning on using Trench Fighters, which requires the model to have a Plague Knife, and they get an additional attack with the Plague Knife, which can be 10 additional attacks across a full squad with knives. Unless you're planning to use that, you might as well just take the Plague Blade. You're probably not going to use it anyway, but you might as well have it. The Plague Marine Plague Marine Champion's Bolt Gun can be replaced with a Bolt Pistol. Never going to do it. Plasma Gun, which you probably pick. A Plasma Pistol, which you might pick, but being able to shoot whilst in melee isn't that big of an advantage compared to the half range of the Plasma Gun. I think I'd just always take a Plasma Gun and have a little bit of range threat. And he can be equipped with a Power Fist, which now being free, you would always take. So that's it for the champion. So if you were taking a Plasma Gun and a Power Fist, The Demonic Plague Blade was free previously, but if you're doing both of those, the fact that they're now free saves you're saving 20 points. That's already great, but there's more. So one Plague Marine Bolt Gun can be replaced with a Blight Launcher, would have been 10 points. Great stuff. And I think that's still a good pick. Even if you go in melee, I still think having a Blight Launcher or two in the squad isn't a bad shout. It'll allow you to proc Cyclic Erosion. So hit something with a Plague Weapon, and then every other weapon can count as being a Plague Weapon in terms of re-rolling ones. Doesn't count as far as Arch Contaminator, but it allows things that aren't Plague Weapons to re-roll ones for the rest of the turn for 2 CP. So something like your Demon Prince that doesn't have a Plague melee weapon, he can now at least re-roll ones to wound if he charges that model later in the turn. But same goes, things like your Blight Haulers that have melters and missiles, not Plague Weapons. Cyclic Erosion, having the Blight Launchers in your Plague Marine squads means you're going to be able to proc it that bit easier. You could, of course, still do that even without the Blight Launcher if you have other ranged Plague Weapons, Strength 6, AP -2, Damage 2, and a Plague Weapon in and of itself. So one Plague Marine's Bolt Gun can be replaced with a Plague Spewer. So that is the Strength 5, AP -1, Damage 1, basically a Heavy Flamer that is a Plague Weapon. I don't necessarily like that as a pick, but if you go in Mortarion's Chosen Sons and you're going to want to use the increase of damage, then yeah, of course having those in the squad can help. For every 10 models, one additional Plague Marine Bolt Gun can be replaced with either a Blight Launcher or a Plague Spewer. So the way I read that is you can have 2 Blight Launchers and 1 Spewer, or 2 Spewers and 1 Launcher, but you can't have 2 of both. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 Plague Marine Bolt Gun can be replaced with 1 Melter, 1 Plague Belcher, or 1 Plasma Gun. So you could have a total of 3 Plasmas. You can have 2 on the normal Plague Marines and 1 on the Champion. Personally, I quite like Melters in the squad. I understand that part of the reason for me not liking the Spewer is short range, but the Melter is just so good at chewing through heavy infantry and vehicles that I think at least having 1 in the squad is pretty reasonable. But again, you don't have to. You could have Plasmas or something else. 1 in every 5 can replace the Bolt Gun with a second knife, so they get an additional attack as a result of the rule down here. Vectors of Death. Plague Marine equipped with 2 melee Plague Weapons has an attack characteristic of 3. Guy with 2 knives would have 3 attacks. 1 Bolt Gun per 5 can be replaced with a Bibotic Axe, which is Strength 6, well it's +2, but that'd make it 6. AP -2, Damage 1, and is a Plague Weapon. Probably the worst upgrade, besides the extra knife, but not bad. 1 in every 5 can have a Mace of Contagion and Bibotic Axe, so they would be able to pick between using the Bibotic Axe we've described or the Mace of Contagion, which is, in my opinion, outright better, but it does have some drawbacks. But I think for most of the use cases, you'd probably want to use the Mace anyway. So it's Strength +2, so it's 6 Strength, same as the Axe. It's only AP -1, so less AP. But it is damaged flat 3. So it's killing infantry models a lot of the time when it gets through. It is a Plague Weapon, but it does -1 from the attack's hit roll. So again, there is a drawback, but the flat 3 damage I think is very relevant, particularly when you consider the stratagem Haze of Corruption, which allows any overspill damage to carry over to another model without them getting a wound. So even if it's 2 wound models, 2 lots of the 3 going through past failed armor saves is actually killing 3 models instead of 2, which is way better than the Bibotic Axe in my opinion, but it is less likely to get through because you've got -1 to hit and you've got less AP. But I'd be willing to take that chance personally. 1 in every 5 can have a Flail of Corruption. I think you'll see that as an auto take. Even if you go with the rest of the squad being ranged, I think you'll still see the Flail. It is Strength +1, so it's only Strength 5, sadly, but it is AP -2, Damage 2, and you make 2 hit rolls instead of 1. So by having this, as well as the knife, that model would have 3 attacks, so they're making 6 attacks. If you've got 2 in a squad of 10, that's 12 attacks on that profile. Pretty nice against pretty much any infantry. And then the last one there for those is 1 in every 5 can replace it with a Great Plague Cleaver. which is strength times 2, so it'll be hitting at strength 8, AP minus 3, and damage D6. Great against any sort of heavy or elite infantry. It is minus 1 to hit, but again, it is a player weapon, so at least you're getting reroll 1s to wound. Any that go through, it's big AP and generally big damage, though a little bit swingy. Of course, you could spend a command point to reroll it if you get a 1 and it's a 2 wound model. But again, if you've used Haze of Corruption and you get in the big 6, that's carrying over for any that fail the armor save. They don't get another armor save. It's just killing more models potentially. So personally, I would, in a squad of 10, I would take 2 cleavers, 2 maces, at the bare minimum. I'd be taking the fist and plasma gun on the champion. I'd probably take 2 blight launchers. So that's 7 of them dealt with. So I've got 3 more to go. Maybe take 2 melters and an extra mace and axe. So you've got a decent mix there. A little bit of shooting threat, little bit of melee threat. But overall, both of that is good quality. For all of that combined, you're saving about 100 points. So you've effectively got another squad of 5 for free that, again, you can upgrade for free. So the more Plague Marines you include, the more you're saving as a result of this change. And they really are now a threatening unit. Whether you commit them to melee, whether you commit them to ranged, they get a lot more done. But on top of that, they're going to be great at doing the actions. You know, if they've gone full melee, there's nobody in range this turn, why not do a spread the sickness? They are OBSEC, so it auto-completes, and you're getting more points for doing it out of your deployment zone now as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Underhive.